Colorado High School Activities Association basketball is on 1010 KSIR and on the World Wide Web at KSIR.com this afternoon from Moby Arena in Fort Collins. It's a Class 3A state semifinals. The Brush Bee Diggers take on the Ken Denver Sun Devils. Along with Jen Goodall, I'm John Beltran. As the Bee Diggers are the 4th seed going in, and the Sun Devils the top seed. Bee Diggers yesterday defeated Faith Christian 47-43, and Ken Denver knocked off the AC Sterling by a score of 55-36. So that's how they got to this point in the semifinals. Earlier today, Faith Christian was a 2-point winner over Sterling, and Colorado Academy defeated Holy Family by a couple of points. We'll be getting this game started right on time. But first, we will be taking a momentary break before the starting lineups are introduced as the Bee Diggers take on the Ken Denver Sun Devils from Moby Arena in Fort Collins. We'll take a break and come back after this. You are listening to the 2013 Class 3A State Tournament in Fort Collins right here on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. John Beltran back with Jen Goodall at Moby Arena in Fort Collins. Starting lineup to be introduced by the public address announcer for the Bee Diggers, Austin Garcia, a sophomore. As they're going alternating starting lineups, but nonetheless, the Bee Diggers will have Austin Garcia, the junior Trey Cranston, Kyle Rosenbrock, a sophomore, along with juniors Jeffrey Dunker and the senior Mitch Tormolen. For Ken Denver, they go with Billy Lane, one of the big men in there, along with Brandon Jones, who's a horse, Eduardo White, Matt Pettijohn, and their leading scorer, Josh Rapine. The Bee Diggers are mainly a junior-laden team, and this Ken Denver team is virtually all seniors. And I don't know if that 1 year of experience is going to make a difference because this Brush team has been playing together, Jen, it seems, for like 6 or 7 years.
Well, and they have a knack. We touched on it yesterday that they kind of know where each other's going to go or what they're going to do before they do it. So, a lot of those 50-50 balls end up in our hands because we can make that transition from traveling into a good pass that's successful and makes it our possession.
Michael Hanley, not Eduardo White, is the starter. They're the 5th starter for Ken Denver. The Bee Diggers are wearing their road maroons because they're the lower seed at number 4 with a 22-3 record. Ken Denver, the top seed, at 24-1. And coming up later on at 7 o'clock is the other 3A semifinal, Eaton, which stunned Holy Family by 29 points last night, 66-37, will take on Pagosa Springs. And Eaton lost on January the 4th to Holy Family by 9. So you really never know knows what happens here when it comes to playoff time because it's a different part of the season. Mitch Tormolen will be jumping center for the Bee Diggers. Opening tip brought to you by Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance. With 2 locations in Brush and Fort Morgan, they can help you with home, car, health, or life insurance questions or needs. Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance. And against this team, like they did against Faith Christian yesterday, got to get off to the steady start. Because when you look at the game, it was competitive through 32 minutes against Faith Christian, but Brush led from the very beginning.
They did lead from the very beginning, and we've seen in the past that Brush has gotten off to slow starts, and hopefully they can again keep that same pace that they did yesterday.
Okay, Eduardo White is in there for Ken Denver. Let's see who I'll have as Brandon Jones is not in the starting lineup. So Pettijohn, White, Rapine, Hanley, and Billy Lane for Ken Denver. And the opening tip is controlled by the Sun Devils. Billy Lane will hand it off to Rapine. Back out to Pettijohn, just across the timeline. Pettijohn against Austin Garcia, dribbling on the outside left, over to Michael Hanley. Back out to Pettijohn. Very patient offense so far. Now to Hanley on the outside left with the basketball, dribbling towards the top, hands it off to Rapine. Rapine against Rosenbrock, cut off over there. Back out to Pettijohn against Trey Cranston. Cross court to Hanley. Hanley with the basketball near the timeline to Pettijohn. Pettijohn against Cranston. On the outside left to Rapine. Rapine at the top to White. On the outside right to Pettijohn, looking for lanes. Kick it cross court. Here is Hanley at the free throw line. On the outside right to Pettijohn. Pettijohn at the top for Rapine. Fakes on Cranston, left of the free throw line. Picks up the dribble straight away to Lane. Lane on the outside left to Rapine. Left corner Hanley, 3 in the air, good. For Michael Hanley. Well, that's a great possession for Ken Denver. They took up a minute, and they hit a three-pointer. Here comes Dunker into the front court for Brush, and the outside left for Cranston. Cranston with the basketball in the left corner for Tormolen. Dribbles, cross-court pass to Garcia. Straightaway three is off to the left, and the rebound is controlled by Eduardo White. And then the basketball is lost. Dunker has it for Brush. With the basketball is Dunker on the outside left. Dunker pulls up for a three, and that's an air ball. Josh Rapine comes away with the basketball after the air ball by Jeffrey Dunker. Here's Matt Pettijohn with the basketball, cross-court to Hanley. Another three, and that's no good. Jeffrey Dunker with a rebound for the Beatdiggers. Here comes Brush. Long pass to Rosenbrock. Lays it up and in. We've got the Beatdigger crowd right behind us. And you can tell the Beatdiggers now trail 3-2. 6:08 to go in the opening quarter. Pettijohn with the basketball. Over to Rapine. Rapine just across midcourt on the outside right to Lane. Now to Pettijohn. Now to Rapine at the top. Free throw line for White. White against Tormolen. Back to Rapine. Rapine steps in. Nearly tied up. And then the ball's wrestled away by Trey Cranston. It's a tie-up. Possession arrow is pointing in Brush's direction. This is going to get louder throughout the course of the game, especially if the Beatdiggers play well here. And here is Jeffrey Dunker for Brush, with the Beatdiggers down 3-2, 5:47 to go in the opening quarter. Back out to Garcia. Garcia to Dunker straight away. Left of the lane, into the lane, fell down, and then he might have turned an ankle or something. He's down on the floor. Pettijohn picks up the basketball. And then we've got a stoppage, and Dunker's going to go off limping. And Todd Shays, the Ken Denver head coach, wondering why play was stopped. And Dunker's going to leave the game in favor of Randy Baker. Hopefully he will be coming back into the game. And sometimes it's the next day when that ankle hurts worse.
Right.
So the Beatdiggers turn it over for the first time.
Well, if he can get it taped up right off the bat here, I'm assuming that you're not going to be able to keep him out of this game.
And to throw it in will be Michael Hanley. Hanley to the left of the basket, down low for Lane. He fades, he shoots off the glass and in. Boy, that was lucky. I don't know how he made that. No angle. Long pass towards Rosenbrock, knocked out of bounds by White. Beatdiggers retain possession. It's a 5-2 lead for Ken Denver. 5:27 to go in the opening quarter. And Dunker will be treated over there and probably will get that ankle tape quickly. Garcia to throw it in. Garcia looking. Over to Rosenbrock. Right wing Cranston. Three in the air is no good. And the rebound is controlled by Josh Rapine, his second board. Rapine with the basketball into the front court. 5-2 Ken Denver. 5:15 to go in the opening quarter. They are the number one seed in this 3A state tournament. Down low for White. White fades, jump past the lane, and then his shot is blocked. Blocked away by Baker. Taken away by Tormolen. Here comes Garcia for Brush across the timeline on the outside right. Garcia cross court to Baker. Baker on the high left, down low for Cranston. Cranston goes up and in! Off the glass for Trey Cranston. Ken Denver 5, Brush 4. 4:46 to go in the opening quarter from Moby Arena in Fort Collins in the 3A semifinal. The winner will play tomorrow night at 5:30. Rapine with the basketball. Back out to Hanley on the outside right. Pettijohn at the top. Over to Hanley with the basketball. Holding it on his right hip is Rapine. Back out to Pettijohn. Pettijohn with the basketball. On the outside left to Rapine. Now to Pettijohn. Pettijohn steps into the lane, lost the basketball, loose on the floor, got it back. Feeds it to Lane, right baseline, and he dribbled the ball off his foot out of bounds. Turnover number 3 for the Ken Denver Sun Devils. Beatdigger basketball looking for their first lead of the game. 5-4 Ken Denver with 4:12 to go in the first quarter. Here comes Garcia into the front court with the basketball. Garcia puts up a long three. Good for Austin Garcia. He drills the triple, and the Beatdiggers with a 7-5 lead. With 3:56 to go in the first, Pettijohn with the basketball on the outside right to Rapine. Back out to Pettijohn. The Beatdiggers have scored the last 5 points of the game. Bounce pass to White. White double-teamed, and then he was pushed from behind. I think Mitch Tormolen got him with the body. Nope, that's going to be Kyle Rosenbrock instead. And to throw it in will be Michael Hanley underneath the Brush basket. Eduardo White is out, and Brian Boatman is into the game for Ken Denver. Hanley looking. On the outside left, Rapine's long three is in off the glass. I'm telling you, they're just getting lucky. The last 2 buckets. Here is Rosenbrock, right corner, three, in and out. And the rebound is controlled by Billy Lane. And then he's fouled in the backcourt. If that's Rosenbrock, that would be a second. Which means he would find a seat on the bench, and he does. Here comes Bryce Needens into the game along with Jake Brown. Ken Denver with an 8-7 lead with 3:34 to go in the opening quarter. And Josh Rapine, he's talking to the official, but it has nothing to do with the ball. Into the front court is Pettijohn. Yeah, Ken Denver's just played lucky. I mean, two shots that weren't meant to go in off the glass. On the outside right to Rapine, guarded by Baker, near the timeline to Pettijohn. With the Sun Devils up by a point, Pettijohn with the basketball, near the top. I don't think they missed a shot yet. Well, they missed one, I think. Michael Hanley with the basketball, left of the lane, in the lane, jump pass, left baseline. Boatman down low for Lane. His shot is up and missed off the back of the rim. The rebound to Austin Garcia. Garcia across the timeline. The Beat-Diggers can reclaim the lead. Garcia on the outside left to Needens. Needens back out to Garcia. Garcia with the basketball, left wing to Needens. In the left corner with the basketball is Baker. Cross court to Garcia. Long three in the air, and that's going to be no good. And the rebound is controlled over there by Josh Rapine. That's his third board already. Here come the Sun Devils across the timeline. Back out to Pettijohn straight away. On the outside right to Hanley. Down low pass tipped away by Baker. Taken over there by Hanley. Hanley spinning on Baker. Lost the ball. Loose to the floor. Picked up by Baker. Then he's fouled. He is fouled over there. Oh, that is a horrible call. That is terrible. I mean, there was clearly contact. Jeez, you have to be kidding me. That is an atrocious call. Baker was clearly fouled there.
Well, it looked like the same thing that we saw at the other end with Rosenbrock, who flipped the Ken Denver. Kind of looked the same.
Ken Denver basketball. Here is Pettijohn on the outside right against Needens. Picks up his dribble. Lob to Hanley. Back out Rapine. Straight away three in the air. Is going to be around and no good. And underneath the basket is Brandon Jones. And I believe the Beat-Diggers committed a foul. And that might have been Jake Brown as Jones had position. And for Brown, that's his first foul. The Beat-Diggers with their third. Yeah, Baker clearly had the ball and was pushed off the steal. We've got 2:20 to go first quarter. Ken Denver 8, Brush 7. In the left corner, Jones back out to Pettijohn. Fakes the three on Garcia. Steps in. 15-footer off the glass. That's a brick. Randy Baker has the basketball for the Beat-Diggers. Looked like there was contact. No whistle there. Let's see if that continues. Garcia across the timeline for the Beat-Diggers. Slowing it down. Approaching the 2-minute mark of the opening quarter in this 3A semifinal. Garcia with the basketball at the top on the outside left to Needens. Back out to Garcia on the high right to Baker. Baker back to Garcia just across the timeline. Outside right to Baker. Baker jump pass to Garcia. Garcia towards the top on the high right to Baker. Dribbling right baseline, and looked like Baker was fouled on that strong move. And that might have been Brandon Jones committing the foul. That's his first. Beat-Digger basketball underneath the Ken Denver basket with 1:44 to go in the opening quarter. And John Payne is into the game for Ken Denver. Garcia to trigger it in. On the outside right to Needens. In the right corner, here's Garcia stepping to his left. Jump pass cross court over to Baker. Baker on the outside left with the basketball. Dribbling to his right. Had the ball stripped away. Here comes Josh Rapine and stripped from behind by Bryce Needens, but he committed the foul. Let's see if he was going up for the shot, or they're going to call it on the floor.
Should be on the floor.
And it is on the floor.
Yeah, it wasn't a continuation thing, so.
Second turnover against the Beat-Diggers, and to throw it in is John Payne. Payne looking for Boatman down low. Feeds Boatman, lost the basketball out of bounds. And that was off a brush? Well, that looked like it was off of Boatman himself, unless it was poked from behind. Josh Feiner steps in for Matt Pettijohn. But the Beat-Diggers aren't complaining, so I assume that's the correct call. Payne to throw it in. Payne looking, lobs it near the top. On the outside right to Rapine, looked like he walked. Jump pass straight away. And the three is in the air. That's off the back of the rim. Missed by Payne. And the rebound comes away to Randy Baker. Baker, long pass to Brown. Brown cross-court pass near the corner to Garcia, but nobody was there. I don't know why Brown didn't just go straight to the basket. And the Beat-Diggers turn it over for a third time.
Well, I think he was expecting Austin Garcia to post up, or spot up, I should say, in that corner shot that he likes for three.
And Jeffrey Dunker and Jacob Nichols are into the game for Mitch Tormolen and Austin Garcia. Beat-Diggers back on defense. Rapine into Feiner. Feiner with the basketball with 1:11 to go in the first quarter. Ken Denver 8, Brush 7. Rapine on the high right. against Baker. Dribbles towards the right baseline. Picks up the dribble. Down low for Jones, and Jones was pushed from behind by Jacob Nichols. That'll be the 15th foul. Yeah, the Beat Diggers have got to be a little bit more disciplined. If not, Ken Denver's going to get to the line often. And to throw it in will be John Payne. Payne to the left of the basket. Payne looking. Cross-court, left corner, wide open three by Feiner. That's an air. No, hit the bottom of the rim. Jacob Nichols comes away with a basketball for Brush. Over to Needens. Needens into the front court on the outside right, Dunker. Dunker between his legs, jump pass, cross-court. That was a terrible pass. Intercepted over there by John Payne. Ken Denver with possession. 45 seconds to go. Can't make those passes. Feiner into the front court. On the outside right to Rapine, guarded by Bryce Needens. Dribbling to his left, picked up by Dunker. Jump pass over to Feiner against Jake Brown at the free throw line for Boltman. Nearly stripped. Boltman steps in. Jump pass down low, banked up and in by John Payne. The Beat Diggers fell asleep. 10-7, Ken Denver. 21 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Needens back out to Baker. Baker near the top of the basketball. On the outside right to Needens. Jump pass to Dunker. On the right baseline, nearly trapped over there in the corner. Over to Brown, now to Baker, left of the lane, in the lane. He scoops it up and in for Randy Baker with 3 seconds to go. Now with 2. A shot from midcourt is up, and an air ball. Missed by Josh Feiner. That's the end of the opening quarter. With the score, Ken Denver 10, Brush 9 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Ken Denver has the basketball first to begin the second quarter. John Beltran with Jen Goodall, 10-9. Ken Denver in the 3A semifinal. John Payne throws it into Matt Pettijohn out there with Jaden Franklin, Brian Boltman, and Brandon Jones. On the outside right with the basketball is Payne. Guarded by Jacob Nichols out there with Tormolen, Baker, Dunker, and Bryce Needens. Right corner for Boltman, down low, wide open with Payne, but he got stripped away by Randy Baker. Now the Beat Diggers can reclaim the lead. They led once in the opening quarter. Baker right of the lane, slams into a defender. The ball is loose on the floor, and that's going to be a tie, but the Beat Diggers will retain possession of the basketball because Ken Denver just inbounded the basketball to start the second. So Brush ball. And Bryce Needens to throw it in. To the left of the basket. This one could be as tight as yesterday's game. So far, so good. Needens looking. Still looking. Lobs it towards midcourt to Baker, nearly an over and back.
It's not over and back. It's on the inbound play.
Right. On the outside right to Needens. Needens with a basketball. Gets a pick, dribbling towards the right corner. And there's a foul. Foul on Ken Denver. And the foul was committed by Brian Boltman. That's his first. Of course, you got to make sure you read the official. They make limited use of the scoreboard here at a college facility, unfortunately. Needens to throw it in. Left baseline for Tormolen. Left of the lane. Maintains the dribble. Cross court to Needens. Needens fakes the three. Dribbles towards the right baseline. He's going to have to throw it to Nichols, and he shoots, and he misses off the back of the rim. Tormolen goes for the rebound. It's out of bounds, and it's off of Brian Boltman. Beat Diggers retain possession. And to throw it in will be Needens. Needens to the right of the basket, and Michael Hanley comes back into the game for John Payne for the Sun Devils. Well, it was a great game 2 years ago when they played in the Consolation Championship. Tormolen back out to Baker. Outside right to Dunker. Penetrates right baseline. Nearly lost it. Hooks it up. And that's off the back of the rim. Tormolen went for the rebound. It's loose. But it's taken away over there by Michael Hanley. Here comes Ken Denver the other way. Pettijohn into the front court. At the top. Fakes the three. Bounce pass to Hanley on the outside left. Down low for Jones in the lane. And he traveled. Excellent call. There was a shuffling of the feet. You have to dribble. You can't jump and dribble at the same time.
Well, and I think he was trying to see how strong Mitch was going to be in holding his position, and Mitch held steady, so that was a great call. Good job by Mitch.
Needens inbounds the basketball on a bounce to Baker. Back to Needens as the Beat Diggers trail 10-9 with 6:48 to go before the break. Needens into the front court on the outside right to Nichols.
And Ken Denver just switched to a man-to-man.
Jump pass to Tormolen. On the outside right to Baker. Steps in 15-footer is an air ball. Taken away by Jaden Franklin. Bounce pass to the backcourt to Pettijohn. Long pass to Hanley. Hanley back to Pettijohn. Wants to step in, back out to Hanley, guarded by Baker. Straight away, Pettijohn, long three, and that's off the front of the rim. And Jones goes up for the rebound, and then he lost the basketball, but it's taken by Franklin. They reset. Jones to the free throw line. 15-footer, yes. for Brandon Jones, and Ken Denver is up by 3, 12-9 with 6:08 to go, second quarter. Bryce Needens for Brush into the front court to Randy Baker. Baker sets it up for the B-Diggers. On the outside left to Needens, steps to his left, pulls up the three in the air, is no good, and Nichols went for the rebound. Looked like an over and back. Nicholson was fouled from behind by Jones. Jones is a football player, but you got to call fouls in basketball. What a bunch of garbage. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's Jones' second foul. He clearly went over the back.
Yeah.
And there's three officials with clear view of that. Austin Garcia checks back in for Brush. Ben Mickey into the game. Eduardo White and Billy Lane in for Ken Denver. Garcia to throw it in with the B-Diggers down by 3. Bounce pass to Tormolen. Tormolen goes up and he misses. Might have been partially blocked, and it's off of Franklin out of bounds. Ken Denver could not retain possession. B-Digger basketball. And the B-Diggers, once again, they're undersized. Billy Lane in there for Ken Denver at 6'5". Garcia to trigger it in. Looking, still looking. On the outside, left to Dunker. Dunker, left baseline, fades from 10. That's no good. Tormolen with a rebound. And they're going to say Tormolen pushed off. Wow. And Tormolen's not happy about that at all. I don't blame him. That is team foul number 6. Rosenbrock checks into the game for Tormolen. With 5:42 to go before the break. Ken Denver 12, Brush 9. That was a long rebound.
That was a long rebound.
A push there. Jaden Franklin into the front court. That's a moving screen there by Billy Lane, and that's not being called either. I mean, he was moving all over the place. Franklin jump pass in the right corner to Hanley. Jump pass straight away to Lane. Lane picks up the dribble. Looking on the outside right to Hanley. Straight away to Pettijohn. Right baseline to White. Dribbles in. Jump pass is tipped out of bounds by Garcia. And Ken Denver retains possession up by 3 with 5:18 to go, second quarter. To throw it in is Hanley. Over to Pettijohn, and we got a whistle. Josh Rapine about to check into the game, but no, they got to continue play. Pettijohn with the basketball at the top, picked up by Dunker. Bounce pass to Franklin. Franklin well above the arc on the outside right to Pettijohn. Right corner, White. His shot is up and around and no good. And Lane goes over the back. There you go. That's an over the back. 14 foul.
Well, we still have to box out and make that contact and then go get the ball to make that call happen. And the boys did a good job that time.
Garcia to throw it in. Only 2 points scored in the first 2 minutes and 54 seconds here of the second quarter. And they came from Brandon Jones of Ken Denver. Yeah, this could be the first of 40. Kind of like yesterday, B-Diggers won 47-43 over Faith Christian. On the outside right, Mickey with the basketball. Mickey dribbling to his left. Bounce pass to Rosenbrock. Straight away, Dunker fakes the 3 steps in. His runner is going to be well short. Rosenbrock tips and misses, goes back up, and he misses again, goes back up, and he misses again, and Billy Lane comes down with a rebound. Well, Rosenbrock had a bunch of chances but could not convert. Here comes Ken Denver the other way. Rapine with the basketball in the right corner for Hanley, guarded by Baker. Dribbling right baseline, cut off by Baker. Back out to Pettijohn against Dunker on the outside right to Hanley. Straight away, Pettijohn, outside left for Pine, fakes the 3, steps in, he's cut off over there by Mickey. Now to Pettijohn with the basketball on the high left to Rapine, back to Pettijohn. 4:19 to go, second quarter. Ken Denver 12, Brush 9 at the top for Eduardo White. Kicks it back out to Lane on the outside right to Pettijohn. Pettijohn straight away, Rapine, long 3 in the air, good. For Josh Rapine, and Ken Denver now leads the game 15-9 with an even 4 minutes to go, second quarter. Garcia for Brush, across the timeline. On the outside, left to Baker. Baker, jump pass to Garcia. Cross court to Baker. Baker, left corner for Rosenbrock. Rosenbrock looking. Cross court, that's another terrible pass. Intercepted by Eduardo White. It's a 2-on-2, and Dunker fouls from behind. This will be the 17th foul. B-Diggers have got to be more disciplined. You can't throw cross court like that. And to the line will be Eduardo White, as all of a sudden Ken Denver scored the first 5 points of the second quarter, and the B-Diggers have gone a little bit cold.
Well, and part of that is their length in their height. It's making it look like that's open, and they're just kind of baiting him to throw that pass, which we've done a couple times, and I'm sure Coach Garcia is going to address that right now in the timeout.
Blodorn Lumber, another fine sponsor of Brush B-Digger Sports. Blodorn Lumber. B-Digger timeout brought to you by Greg Mullen at State Farm Insurance. 842-4555. Home Auto Life and Health. State Farm Insurance is there for you and your family. So the Beet Diggers have yet to score in the first 4 minutes and 17 seconds of the second quarter. And right now, that's part of the difference as they trail Ken Denver 15-9. And Eduardo White to the line for the 1-1. And again, you get here primarily through defense, and the Beet Diggers are finding that out right now against the Ken Denver team, by the way, that beat Faith Christian earlier this year by only a point.
Well, and we've seen this throughout the season, that the Beet Diggers always seem to rise to the occasion. It doesn't really matter if they're down or up. They kind of just rise to whatever occasion it is and go past it.
Oh, they got to do it right now. Eduardo White to the line for the 1-1 for Ken Denver. And you know, Ken Denver likes to stretch the defense because they've taken quite a few threes already. White bends, shoots, and connects. Ken Denver on a 6-0 run to begin the second quarter. Look to the team at Valley View for rehab, short-term, or long-term care needs. Valley View, 815 Fremont. Call them 867-8261. Second free throw is in. All of a sudden, the Ken Denver lead is 17-9 with 3:38 to go in the second quarter. Dunker into the front court towards the top. Jump pass to Rosenbrock at the free throw line. Left wing, Garcia, three in the air. That's well off to the left. Rebound controlled by Josh Rapine. Rapine into the front court, nearly stripped by Dunker from behind. Back out to Pettijohn. Pettijohn with the basketball, dribbling to his right, over to Hanley. Hanley, right corner for Lane. Back out to Pettijohn. On the outside, left to Rapine. Back out to Hanley. Hanley against Dunker. Lost the basketball, got it back, maintains her dribble, picks up the dribble, spins it back out. Here in the lane is White all the way, scoops it up and in off the glass for Eduardo White. And Ken Denver is on a 9-0 run to begin the second quarter, and the Beet Diggers have yet to score with 2:53 to go before the break. Here's Kyle Rosenbrock dribbling right baseline, and he's fouled. That's the 15th foul. Oh, Brush needs a basket desperately.
They do, and they've had their opportunities. We just got to make sure we put it in the hole. If Kyle can stay in there and stay on the boards, that's going to be a benefit to us, and he's just got to make those point-blank shots.
Looks like Billy Lane committed his second foul. Brian Boatman in for Ken Denver. Garcia to trigger it in. Garcia looking, still looking. Near the top to Cranston. Cranston on the outside left to Rosenbrock. Bounce pass off of Brown. The ball is loose on the floor. Still loose and picked up by Rapine. Beet Diggers turn it over for a fifth time. Rapine into the front court. Outside left Pettijohn. Wide open three is off the front of the rim. The rebound, though, goes to Hanley. Hanley back out to Pettijohn. Spinning over to Hanley. Hanley at the free throw line in the lane. Scoops it up, and it's blocked over there by Tormolen, but a foul. The foul is on Jake Brown. That's his second. Michael Hanley to the line. And the Beet Digger crowd is a lot quieter in the second quarter than the first for obvious reasons. Free throws coming up. Serving you the best coffees, lattes, and smoothies. Willow Coffee, Tea, and Smoothies, 921 Edison Street in Brush. Open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free throw is in for Michael Hanley. And Ken Denver has begun the second quarter on a 10-0 run. Beet Diggers had a 1-point lead at one point. Second free throw upcoming for Hanley. That's in the air, and that's in as well. Sun Devils lead 21-9. 2:20 to go before the break. Garcia with the basketball. Back out to Cranston. Cranston outside left to Garcia. Garcia dribbling on the high right to Cranston. Bounce pass down low for Tormolen. Tormolen turns, jump pass, knocked away by Hanley. Taken away by the Sun Devils, and then poked from behind by Rosenbrock out of bounds, but Ken Denver retains possession. And Pettijohn to throw it in. With 2:03 to go, down by 12. Pettijohn looking. Bounce pass to Boatman, and it's off of Pettijohn out of bounds. Couldn't control it. 7 turnover for Ken Denver. Brush is still looking for their first bucket in well over 6 minutes. Here comes Garcia for the Beet Diggers across the timeline. On the outside, right to Brown. Back to Garcia straight away, and then that pass is tipped away by Hanley. Say, Brush normally a good passing team, but not right now. Right corner, Rapine, 3 in the air, is no good, and the ball is tipped out of bounds off of Brown. Ken Denver had a win against Holy Family this year where they were shut out 8-0 in the first quarter. Ken Denver was. B-Diggers could be shut out. Let's see if they can somehow come back in this game. As Pettijohn to throw it in. Bounce pass on the right baseline to Rapine. He dribbles it back out. Over to Jaden Franklin back in. On the outside right to Rapine, guarded by Needens. Dribbling to his right. Picks up the dribble straight away for Franklin. Picked up by Cranston. Dribbling right to the lane all the way, and then he traveled.
Yes.
It's a good call there.
Great call on that one.
8th turnover committed by Ken Denver.
Ken Denver looks like they're going to add a little full court pressure here.
Rosenbrock bounces it into Cranston. We've got 1:22 to go. Just make it a 10-point game. Work with that. But you got to score at least a bucket here.
Yeah, and I think this is a case, too, where if it goes in, I think it'll get him jump-started again.
Needens left of the lane with the basketball. Bounce pass to Rosenbrock. That was a risky pass. Cross-court to Tormolen straight away. Bounce pass outside right to Brown. Left, right of the lane. Back out to Needens. It looked like a walk. B-Diggers got away with it. Rosenbrock 3 is going to be no good. And the rebound is controlled by Eduardo White. The Sun Devils want to run. But the pass tipped away but taken by Franklin. 3-on-2 to White all the way. Scoops it up and in. Off the glass for Eduardo White. B-Diggers down 14, 45 seconds to go. Into the front court is Needens. In the right corner for Rosenbrock. Right of the lane. Down low for Tormolen. Banks and scores. B-Diggers score their first bucket with 40 seconds to go in the second quarter, but they're still down by a dozen. Ken Denver 23, Brush 11. They'll play for the final shot more than likely with 27 seconds to go in the second quarter. Franklin on the outside right at the top for White. On the high left, Pettijohn. Down low for Boatman. Boatman straight away to White. On the right wing to Franklin. Little 12-footer is no good, and the rebound is out of bounds. It's off of Brian Boatman. B-Digger basketball. They can make this a 10-point game with 12.7 seconds to go. Tormolen to throw it in. The B-Diggers were eliminated by Ken Denver in the football quarterfinals this year. Cranston with 7 seconds to go. Lost it, got it back. Now with 5 across midcourt with 4, and then he traveled. That's a good call. You got to get rid of the ball. The B-Diggers turn it over for 8th time with 3.3 seconds to go. Ken Denver basketball in the backcourt along the side. Pettijohn to throw it in. Michael Hanley comes in because he's an excellent three-point shooter. Also into the game, Chance Tanner, as well as Tyler Paget. Pettijohn looking to lob it in. Throws it into the front court to Rapine. Takes a couple of dribbles into the lane all the way. Scoops it up off the glass and in. Rapine went to the rim and scored. That's the way the opening half ends with the score. Ken Denver 25, Brush 11 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. The B-Diggers played an excellent first quarter, trailing Ken Denver 10-9, but a 15-2 run in the second quarter. And on top of that for Brush, they went 7 minutes and 20 seconds without scoring, as Mitch Tormolen hit a layup with 40 seconds to go in the second. That was it. So the B-Diggers trail here at the break, 25-11. We'll head to the third quarter momentarily. And these are the most important 8 minutes of the season. You don't play well here, you can forget about it.
Well, and they say in college that the first 4 minutes of the second half are usually the ones that are the most crucial. So I'm going to cut that down just by 2 minutes.
Yeah, you got to make this a single-digit game, like I mentioned, by the end of the third quarter. Michael Hanley, Josh Rapine, Brandon Jones, Eduardo White, and Matt Pettijohn for Ken Denver. To make matters worse, they'll have the basketball to begin the third. Ackley Building Center, your one-stop center for projects around your home, office, or yard. They carry appliances. Ackley Building Center, 1402 Mill Street in Brush. Jeffrey Dunker, Trey Cranston, Mitch Tormolen, Kyle Rosenbrock, and Austin Garcia for Brush. Hanley to throw it in at midcourt. In the backcourt, gets it into Pettijohn. Pettijohn for Ken Denver, met by Jeffrey Dunker. At the top, on the outside right, the chest pass to Rapine. Looking down low, lobs it to Jones, right baseline. Backs his way in, jump pass to Pettijohn. Above the arc, over to Rapine. Down low for Jones, and his shot is blocked over there by Mitch Tormolen, taken away by Kyle Rosenbrock. Here comes Trey Cranston into the front court. Cranston right of the lane, tries to scoop it up, and he traveled, yep. And the Beat-Diggers have turned it over again. That is their 9th unofficially. Rapine to throw it in. Ken Garcia didn't like that call.
Well, I think it was the right call. He was looking to dish it off, and he just didn't get it out of his hands quick enough.
Pettijohn for Ken Denver. Bounce pass to Jones, right at the free throw line, straight away to White on the high left to Pettijohn. Guarded by Dunker, over to Rapine, wide open three, good. For Josh Rapine, and Ken Denver now has a 28-11 lead, 45 seconds into the third. Dunker in the right corner with the basketball, dribbling to his left. Jump pass to Garcia straight away. Garcia motioning the offense on the high right to Dunker, right of the lane. Pulls up, and his shot is around and good. The little right-hander for Jeffrey Dunker, but the Beat-Diggers are still down big, 28-13. 6:53 to go, third quarter in this 3A semifinal. Pettijohn on the high right to Rapine. Gets the pick from Jones, dribbles to his left. Down low for Jones, fell down, lost the ball, and it's picked up over there by Trey Cranston. Long pass to Rosenbrock, banks and misses the easy shot. Pettijohn has the basketball. Pettijohn then got stripped by Dunker out of bounds. Ken Denver with the basketball. Boy, Rosenbrock has missed 3 of those today.
I don't know if the ball's slipping out of his hands at the last minute or what.
Well, he was very close to the basket.
Yeah,
he's almost too far underneath the basket.
There, yep.
Hanley to throw it in along the side of the backcourt and the bounce pass to Pettijohn. Pettijohn with 6.5 to go, third quarter. Ken Denver 28, Brush 13. Pettijohn bounce pass on the outside left. Here's White at the free throw line. White spinning back out straight away to Jones on the high right to Pettijohn. Penetrating right baseline, fouled by Dunker. As Dunker tried to strip him, Dunker commits his second foul. First foul by either side here in the third quarter. And Pettijohn to throw it in for Ken Denver to the left of the basket. On the outside right, Hanley fakes the three, dribbles into the lane. He's cut off by Tormolen. Then he fades, he shoots, and he scores! Straight away for Hanley. Nice move. He now has 7. The Beat-Diggers down by 17. Dunker's floater is off to the right, and Tormolen goes for the rebound. It's knocked out of bounds by Rapine. Beat-Diggers retain possession, and Brush is starting to rush these possessions, knowing they're down by a lot with 6:07 remaining in the third. Garcia to throw it in. To the right of the Ken Denver basket, Garcia. On the outside left to Tormolen, now to Rosenbrock. Lost the ball, got it back. On the left baseline, Tormolen. Tormolen jump pass to Rosenbrock. Right baseline, Dunker. Little 6-footer is around and no good. Tormolen goes for the rebound, goes back up, and that's too strong, but he's fouled. Mitch Tormolen to the line, and he will shoot 2.
And that's what I touched on at halftime. We got to make sure that we're boxing out, going up and getting the rebound, making that contact first, and we're going to get those calls.
Josh Rapine with his first foul. Whether you're in the market to purchase a new or pre-owned vehicle, Ehrlich Toyota East at 1209 Main Street in Fort Morgan will fit you into the car truck of your choice, serving all of Northeast Colorado. Ehrlich Toyota East. The free throw by Tormolen is in. Ken Denver 30, Brush 14. Yeah, you can't stay with them here in the quarter. You have to exceed.
Yep.
Second free throw is good as well. The Beat-Diggers trail by 15. Plenty of time to go in the third. 5:49 Hanley. Backboard bounce pass to Pettijohn. Into the front court. Double teamed over there, and Pettijohn has to call a timeout. That's what the Beat-Diggers want to do. Even if you have to force them to call timeouts, use that up, and eventually they'll run out of timeouts, and then they'll have to throw it away or force a pass.
And that was a good job, and Jeffrey Dunker is one of the greatest instinctive players when it comes to watching when a player is going to turn and trying to get that steal or getting the trap set correctly.
Bryce Needens and Randy Baker will check in for Brush. The 30-second timeout with the Sun Devils leading 30-15. Yeah, Ken Denver's under the pressure to win this thing because they have a ton of seniors on their team. The Beat-Diggers have 1 in Mitch Tormolen.
Well, and I think, as soon as they settle in here and they make the offense move around, make the defense move around on Kent Denver's side of the things, I think things are going to happen for them, just like it happened with Sterling.
Hanley to throw it in from midcourt. Baker right on top of him. Bounce pass in the backcourt to Pettijohn. On the high right, into the front court to Hanley. Guarded by Baker at the top for White. On the high left, it's Pettijohn. Bounce pass, left baseline for Jones. Too strong, out of bounds. Turnover number 10 for Ken Denver. And now you're in a situation, you got to score probably 2 out of every 3 possessions to get back into the game. Dunker on the outside right, in the right corner for Rosenbrock. Back out to Dunker. On the outside left, Needens, three in the air, is short. Josh Rapine with his 5th rebound. Across the timeline, at the top, and stripped by Dunker, but the ball taken away by Jones. Over to Pettijohn, outside left to Rapine. Rapine left of the lane to White. White in the lane, jump pass to Pettijohn above the arc. Into the lane, nearly stripped, puts up a shot, blocked by Tormolen, but a foul! And the Beet-Digger foul committed by Mitch Tormolen. That's his 2nd. To the line will be Matt Pettijohn. Stop, shop, and save with all of your grocery needs and snacks for game time enjoyment. The Brush Grocery Cart, 1302 West Edison Street in Brush. Free throw is in. And the Beet-Diggers now trail by 16. Second free throw upcoming. And Brush's local Napa and Hardware Hanks Small Engine Repair Shop. Hometown Auto and Hardware, 1305 Edison Street in Brush. Second free throw is in. That's another issue. Ken Denver is a very good free throw shooting team. Right now they're 6 for 6. Eduardo White is out, and Brian Boatman is in. And Ken Denver has matched their biggest lead of 17, 32-15. 4:58 remaining third quarter. Dunker at the top of the basketball. Crossover dribble on the outside left in the left corner for Needens. Bounce pass back out to Dunker. Kicked out of bounds by Handley.
Well, and Ken Denver's kind of just stayed in this 2-3 zone. Same thing that the Beet-Diggers play against. So
Dunker straight away. 3 is up, and that's well off to the right. The ball is tipped into the hands Pettijohn. Beet-Diggers are taking shots they don't normally take, but they want to get back into the game. And then the ball is bounced out of bounds by Pettijohn, intended for Handley. Turnover number 11 for Ken Denver. Yeah, this isn't the fourth quarter.
Nope.
Shoot out of the regular offense. If you draw to within 10, you're all right. You're only 5 points away from that. Needens into the front court. Jump pass Tormolen in the left corner. Baker, 3 in the air. That's not even getting there. Well short, and Matt Pettijohn with a rebound across the timeline, left of the lane, scoops it, cross-court pass, knocked out of bounds by Baker. And this is not even a Brush offense. I don't recognize this offense right now, not because they're not making shots, but because they're just taking shots way too early. The Boatman 3 is up and no good, and the ball is tipped around, and it's controlled by Brandon Jones. 3 in the air, good, in the right corner for Matt Pettijohn, and now Ken Denver leads by 20. 4:13 to go, third quarter. Ken Denver 35, Brush 15. Baker at the top of the basketball. On the outside right to Tormolen. Straight away to Baker. Dribbles into the lane. Floats it up and in! That's a nice shot by Randy Baker on the floater. Baker now with 4, but Brush is down by 18. Cranston, Nichols, Brown, Mickey, and Garcia getting ready to check in. Dunker commits the foul in the backcourt. And for Dunker, that's his 3rd. Coach Garcia probably going with what I would think is his weakest lineup, but he's trying something different because the other unit out there just wasn't
they're
working.
in panic mode right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I really like this move by Coach Garcia. And these are very good players, but you don't have Tormolen out there, you don't have Dunker, you don't have Rosenbrock. Here's Rapine with the basketball. Looked like he pushed off on Garcia. Dribbles by Garcia. Bounce pass inside. There's a layup, and that's the problem. The interior defense lacking there as Boatman scores. Ken Denver back up by 20, 37-17, 3:35 to go, third quarter. Garcia on the right wing with the basketball, looking, lobs it near the top to Cranston. Down low, Brown, little 7-footer around, and he missed it. Brandon Jones comes away with a rebound. On the outlet, over to Pettijohn. Pettijohn into the front court. Parking lot 3, that's well short. Ball is loose, picked up. Boatman misses the shot, tipped away into the hands of Cranston. Cranston with the basketball into the front court, maintains the dribble. Boy, nice ball control by Cranston as he fell down. Cranston in the lane, and there's going to be a foul against Ken Denver. The foul on the floor by Pettijohn, that's his first. Beet-Diggers now down, again by 20, 37-17. B&B Appliance at 502 Ensign in Fort Morgan. It can help you save water, energy, and the environment without sacrificing quality and performance. Change for the better, B&B Appliance. And keeping community banking simple and committed to their community. Morgan Federal Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Josh Feiner is in along with Eduardo White for Ken Denver. Cranston with the inbounds pass on the high left to Garcia. Garcia against Feiner. Back near the left corner to Nichols. Nichols is trapped over there but kicks it back out to Mickey just beyond the timeline. Outside left Garcia fakes the 3, dribbles to his right. Garcia well above the arc. 2:50 to go in the third. Behind his back. He pulls up for a 17-footer. Good. Inside the three-point line, actually, for Austin Garcia. That was not an easy shot, but he made it. Garcia now with 5, and he leads the Beet-Diggers in scoring. They trail 37-19. On the outside left, Handley with the basketball. Back out to White. In the lane, he traveled. And that is turnover number 12 for Ken Denver. Bead Digger basketball. They need to score on this possession with 2:32 to go in the third. Down 37-19. Here comes the sophomore, Jaden Franklin, into the game for Michael Hanley. And I say sophomore for Franklin because they got a lot of seniors, as I alluded to earlier. Garcia to throw it in the backcourt to Brown. Bounce pass to Garcia. Garcia for the Bead Diggers. Bet by Franklin at midcourt. Across the timeline, behind his back, Garcia maintains the dribble. Garcia with the basketball, motion in the offense. Looking, feeds Nichols on the outside left, ball poked away. Nichols has it though. Bounce pass to Garcia. Garcia straight away, gets the pick from Brown. Pulls up for the shot, that's off to the right. And the long rebound is controlled by Brian Boatman. On the long pass to Franklin into the front court on the right wing, lost the basketball off his left foot out of bounds. Ken Denver with their 13th turnover. Head coach Todd Shea, a former NBAer, not very happy about that as Trey Cranston will throw it in. And Rosenbrock and Tormolen are back into the game. Here's the time you got to make the run. 2:03 to go, third quarter. Ken Denver leads 37-19. Their biggest advantage has been 20. Rosenbrock to Cranston. Cranston across the timeline. Met by Josh Feiner. Crossover dribble on the high left. And then he fell down, but he maintains the dribble. Looked like he was tripped up, no call. Bounce pass to Garcia. Garcia gets a pick from Tormolen at the free throw line, right of the lane. Jump past Tormolen, and then had the ball stripped away, but it's high up. It stays with Brush, though. We've talked about Brush's defense all season. Ken Denver's is very good.
They're looking very confident. We look a little bit shaky, but it's coming around a little bit, I think, in terms of confidence level. They're starting to get some open shots. They're making the defense shift a little bit more.
Needens to throw it in, but they've been outscored in every quarter. Bounce pass to the left corner for Tormolen. Dribbles to his right. Bounce pass to Brown, left of the lane. Then he throws a bounce pass, intercepted by White. I don't know where he was going there. Well, to Rosenbrock. White lays it up, and he's fouled as he misses. Blocking foul on Garcia. And Eduardo White of Ken Denver, incredible body control because he jumped laterally to his right.
I think that was Trey Cranston.
And that would be Cranston's first. But White to shoot two. And they can reclaim a 20-point lead. Matt Pettijohn getting ready to check in for Rapine. Eduardo White's free throw is in. 7 for 7 for the line is Ken Denver. Maybe Ken Denver is playing their best basketball right now because they won their first two games of the state tournament handily. Second free throw is up and good. Ken Denver, 39, Brush 19, a minute 33 to go, third quarter. Let's see the Bead Diggers can generate a rally. Oh, come on. Bryce Needens was tattooed in the backcourt, no whistle. And then Matt Pettijohn committed the foul there. Boy, Ken Garcia, he should get a technical here. I mean, he should be mad enough, and I know he's he's not happy with that because Bryce Needens was hit hard by Franklin. Anyway, the foul committed over there.
And you got to have the safety of the kids in mind as well.
Here is Needens, steps up, the three in the air. That barely got to the rim. The ball is loose on the floor, and it's picked up over there by Jaden Franklin. And then Franklin had the ball stripped out of bounds by Brown. Ken Denver retains possession. And Jen, you hit the nail on the head at halftime, and it's still happening in the third quarter. Bead Diggers are short on most of their shots.
And I think they're just tight, nervous. I don't know what the deal is, but it's just not a smooth release.
What? Needens commits the foul just beyond midcourt. That was a touch foul. This one official right now should be getting underneath Ken Garcia's skin, and I think he is. He's just staring at him. Jen, I don't blame him. I'm sorry. This guy is not doing a good job at this point. That was a touch foul, if even that, whereas Bryce Needens was fouled by Franklin, and that was some significant contact. There's Franklin with the basketball. And then we've got an illegal screen on Brian Boatman. Offensive foul. And again, it's the issue of you got to go both ways with those calls. And I'm sure for those watching live online, you can check that out. If not, watch the archive version. You know what I'm talking about. With less than 2 minutes to go in the third, it's at a minute 8 when Bryce Needens should have been issued a foul against Jaden Franklin for that non-call. Needens on the outside left corner for Tormolen, back out to Rosenbrock. Rosenbrock to Needens against Franklin, and then, there we have the same official with a foul. Can you say makeup call? I didn't see much from here. I'm not saying it wasn't a foul, but that contact was nothing.
Well, the other one, Bryce's lip is bleeding, so he's trying to knock him out of the game like that, but this one...
Yeah, Needens to throw it in to the right of the Ken Denver basket. Down by 20, 57.2 seconds to go. Bounce pass into Brown, lays it up, and he misses an easy one. Ball is tipped around into the hands of Michael Hanley. That's part of the story of the game. The Beat Diggers have missed some point-blank shots. Josh Feiner in the backcourt with the basketball. Over to Hanley, right baseline. Lost over there by Tanner, gets it back over to Hanley, straight away to Feiner on the left wing to Pettijohn. With the basketball, Pettijohn on the outside, left against Brown. 31 seconds to go in the third. Ken Denver is in complete control, leading 39-19 in this 3A semifinal. Pettijohn against Brown, straight away to White. Bounce pass to Tanner, right baseline. His shot is blocked by Tormolen and taken away by Trey Cranston. Cranston into the front court, 15 seconds to go. Picks up the dribble. Cranston looking, still looking. Hands it off to Needens. Needens with 9 seconds to go on the outside right with 7. And then he was fouled by Pettijohn. Yeah, Pettijohn wondering, boy, that's a foul? Yeah, if you're about to tackle him. It was a clear reach. I might be exaggerating the point, but how can he not?
He's got one hand on his hip, and he's got the other one going across his body, so that was a great call by the officials.
That's the 16th foul against Ken Denver. Cranston to trigger it in. 6.8 to go in the third. And he lobs it in near the timeline to Rosenbrock. Back out to Needens with 3, with 2. Outside right to Brown. Puts up a long 3. That's going to be off the bottom of the rim. That's the end of the third quarter. With the score, Ken Denver 39, Brush 19. You're listening to the 2013 Class 3A State Tournament from Moby Arena in Fort Collins on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Ken Denver 39, Brush 19 as we begin the fourth in this 3A semifinal. John Beltran along with Jen Goodall. In the backcourt with the basketball is Jaden Franklin off the inbounds pass on the outside right to Michael Hanley. Runs into Baker, no call out there with Brandon Jones and Eduardo White. Then we have a foul on Baker. That's the 16th foul. And Baker's first. Let's set the lineup once again. Josh Rapine, Brandon Jones, Michael Hanley, Jaden Franklin, and Eduardo White for Ken Denver. Randy Baker, Austin Garcia, Jeffrey Dunker, Jacob Nichols, and Ben Mickey for Brush. The lob near the timeline to White, over to Rapine. And you know Ken Denver is in no hurry to shoot at all.
Nope. We just got to stay within 5 feet to get the officials to count.
Franklin against Garcia, dribbles to his left, lobs it down low for Jones all the way, scoops it up off the glass and in for Brennan Jones. The lead is now 22, 41-19. Never thought this would have happened to the Beat Diggers, at least this badly, obviously. Baker on the outside right gets the pick from Nichols. Right corner, Dunker shot up and good. 15-footer for Jeffrey Dunker. He's got 4, brushed down by 20. 41-21 with 7:11 to go in the game. Hanley behind his back, outside left for Pine. Penetrates left baseline. He's trapped over there. Back out to Hanley. 3 in the air. Yes, for Michael Hanley. Hanley with 10. The lead is now 23. If this is not Ken Denver's best game of the season, I don't know what is. And I'm going to tell you the telltale sign. Baker with the basketball once we get to a stoppage here. On the outside left, Garcia, long 3. That's off the back of the rim. Eduardo White with a rebound, his third on the outlet to Rapine. When Ken Denver made those 2 shots in a row off the glass, that was a telltale sign. And there's a steal by Dunker. Dunker bounce pass to Baker, lays it up and in, and a foul. Baker to the line. The foul was committed by Michael Henley. Ken Denver commits their 15th turnover. Hanley with his first personal. Baker's got 6. Matt Pettijohn and Brian Boltman into the game for Ken Denver. The Beat Diggers aren't going to give up, but we don't have 2 to 3 quarters to play. Hard to make that up in 6 minutes and 32 seconds. Baker for 1. The free throw is up and in. Neither team has missed a free throw in the game. Ken Denver's 8 for 8. The Beat Diggers 3 out of 3. It's a 2-on-2. Rapine left of the lane on Mickey. Then he puts up a wild shot, misses air ball, and then the putback by Boltman. He's fouled. He's fouled. They got a lot of ball, but there was some body contact, and the foul was against the Beat Diggers. And Jacob Nichols commits his second. To the line is Brian Boltman. Let's see if Ken Denver can miss a free throw finally. First free throw is up, and that's off the back of the rim. Here comes Kyle Rosenbrock into the game. for the Beet Diggers. Don't let finances stand in your way of pursuing your college education. Visit MCC online at morgancc.edu. No matter what age you are at MCC, you can imagine your possibilities, believe in yourself, and achieve your goal. Morgan Community College. Second free throw is good for Boatman. He's got 3. Ken Denver 45, Brush 24. 6:17 to go in the game. Baker at the top of the outside right to Garcia. Straight away to Baker. Dribbles into the lane. Bounce pass to Rosenbrock. Lays it up and in off the glass. Kyle Rosenbrock scores. He's got 4. The Beet Diggers trail by 19. 45-26. 6:02 to go. Rapine into the front court on the outside right. Back out to Pettijohn. Right baseline. Boatman all the way. Lays it up and in. The Beet Diggers gambled up high, and they got burned down low. Boatman now with 5. It's a 21-point lead once again for Ken Denver with 5:45 to go. Baker right of the lane all the way and had the ball knocked out of bounds, but he was fouled as he drove to the basket. It was either Boatman or Jones. The foul is on Brian Boatman, his second, and Randy Baker to the stripe to shoot 2. The Beet Diggers have got to be very quick on their possessions, but there's a difference between being efficient and rushing. And the Baker free throw is in the air, and that's perfect for Randy Baker. You don't have to close on your house alone. Northern Colorado Title at 130 West Kiowa and Fort Morgan will provide you with a stress-free closing. Letter jackets, T-shirts, and more. Bijou T-Quest at 302 Main Street in Fort Morgan for all of your sports apparel. Second free throw is in. Ken Denver 47, Brush 28. Boatman into the front court to Hanley. Hanley outside left for Pine. Fakes a 3. Maintains the dribble. Pressured by Dunker. And then Dunker slammed right into him. That's a foul. And that'll be the team's 8th foul. And Rapine goes down to the floor. He might have been kneed.
Yeah, I think he got him in the softer area.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. He got him around the groin as Rapine is walking that off. And Rapine to shoot the 1-and-1. But again, Ken Denver, 9 out of 10 for the stripe. Rapine still walking it off. He's got 11 points in the game. Mitch Tormolin and Bryce Needens will check in. And they'll check in for Jeffrey Dunker, who's got 4 fouls, and Jacob Nichols. Northeast Colorado's locally owned hometown savings and loan in Fort Morgan and Brush. Equitable savings and loan. Accidents or illness can strike at any time, day or night. When they do, every second counts. The Level 3 Trauma Center, Colorado Plains Medical Center, can handle any kind of emergency. Colorado Plains Medical Center bringing quality care to the community. Rapine with a 1-and-1. The front end is up and in for Josh Rapine. Second free throw upcoming, but first a timeout called by Ken Denver. 5:32 to go in this 3A semifinal from Moby Arena in Fort Collins. Ken Denver 48, Rush 28 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Josh Rapine to shoot the second of 2 free throws after making the first for Ken Denver. A 48-28 lead over Brush with 5:32 to go in the game. The senior Rapine bends, shoots, and connects. Rapine has 13 points to lead the Sun Devils. Baker into the front court, free throw line, 15-footer, air ball. Tormolin cannot save it in. And, let's see, do I have a whistle? Was there a push from behind? No, it's, oh, they're looking to see the ball was tipped, but it wasn't. I didn't see a tip.
I didn't see a tip.
Ken Denver basketball. Boatman to throw it in. In the backcourt to Jaden Franklin. Franklin jump pass into the front court towards Pettijohn in the right corner. Jump pass to the top for Rapine. On the high right to Franklin. Back out to Pettijohn. Cross-court pass down low for Boatman. He goes up and he misses, but he's fouled. Bryce Needens got him. Yeah, I got to tell you, Jen, this hopefully will not bring back memories of 2009 when Faith Christian eliminated Brush in the football, basketball, and baseball playoffs. And I know Ken Denver's got a good baseball team, as do the Beet Diggers. The free throw is up, and that is in by Brian Boatman. Second free throw upcoming. Ken Denver with a 22-point advantage. And they have coasted since the second quarter. It was a 10-9 lead after 1 for the Sun Devils. Second free throw is up, and that's short. And the ball is loose on the floor. It's taken away by Baker. That's his third rebound. Baker across the timeline with the basketball. Picks up his dribble on the high right to Garcia. Garcia crossover dribble. Bounce pass inside for Rosenbrock. Puts it up, and he misses, but he's fouled. Fouled by Brian Boatman. Well, this is the basketball the Beat Diggers needed in the second when they were settling for some threes, and Boatman commits his third. And Rosenbrock to the stripe to shoot a couple. The friendly staff at High Plains Bank and Wiggins can assist you with a home loan, equity line of credit, commercial loan or checking account to receive hometown service in a higher plane. Visit High Plains Bank. And you don't have to travel out of town to receive the best and most advanced hearing health care. Platte Valley Hearing Center, 409 East Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. They're still trying to fix the net on the other end of the court. Well, that's some of the most applause we've gotten in this game, unfortunately. A net that was stuck that got fixed. Wow. Rosenbrock to shoot two. He's got 4 points in the game. The sophomore bends, shoots, connects. Jen, this will be a huge lesson for the Beat Diggers next year. They're going to remember this, and they're going to come into next season with a lot more fire. You'll have to replace Mitch Tormolen, but you've got 9 quality players in this rotation besides Tormolen.
That's true, but I don't know if you can actually say replace Mitch.
Well, that's why I said you have to try to replace him. The second free throw. Yeah, you're right. There's a difference there.
Yep.
Timeout called by the Beat Diggers, brought to you by Greg Mullen at State Farm Insurance. Home, auto, life, and health. State Farm Insurance is there for you and your family. Give Greg Mullen a call, 842-4555. Well, the Beat Diggers are 7 for 7 from the line, but they're down by 20, 50-30 to Ken Denver with 4:55 to go. And unless the Beat Diggers put together a miracle, I'll be with you tomorrow at 2 o'clock for the third-place game between the loser of tonight's 7 o'clock semifinal featuring Eaton and Pagosa Springs. Yeah, the Beat Diggers are still playing hard like this is a 2-point game, and they should.
They should.
But not much you can do. Ken Denver's playing a solid game, and Brush has allowed an average of 42 points a game this year.
Well, and when you look at the Beat Diggers, it's one of those things that as they're playing, this is a great life lesson. And life lessons in sports aren't always easy things. But they're tough things. But you know what? It's going to carry into the business world or the college world or wherever they go. They're going to remember all of these lessons. So this is great for Brush to get to the Final Four.
Hanley to throw it into the backcourt. Looking over to Boatman. Boatman against Needens underneath the basket. Back out to Rapine. Rapine dribbles to his right against Austin Garcia, nearly pushed off, and then throws it in the backcourt still now into the front court to Pettijohn. Over to Rapine. Bounce pass on the high left to Matt Pettijohn. 50-30 Ken Denver. 4:37 to go in the game. Rapine at the free throw line. In the left corner for Pettijohn. Back out to Rapine against Bryce Needens. Picked up by Garcia. Over to Eduardo White. Lost the basketball, and it's lost by Kyle Rosenbrock. He wanted to get it up the floor. It would have been a 3-on-2. So no turnover by either team. And just beyond midcourt, Ken Denver to trigger it in. Michael Hanley looking. Bounce pass front court over to Josh Rapine against Needens. Dribbles by Needens in the lane. Scoops it up off the glass. No good. And the ball is tipped around by Jones. He's got it. Goes back up and in and out. And then a foul by Jones from behind. Double bonus. Mitch Tormolen will go to the line to shoot 2. Well, at least these players, they do have one more game. That third-place game, Jen, is so tough to play. You're coming off a loss. You really
but I think
don't have much to play for, but you do want to rebound from this loss.
Exactly. You want to go into the beginning of next season with that victory.
Tormolen's free throw is short. Brandon Jones commits his third foul. With 4:16 to go. Second free throw by Tormolen is in the air, and that's good. Tormolen with 5 in the game. Cranston and Dunker are into the game for Austin Garcia and Randy Baker. Hanley to throw it into the backcourt. Over to Pettijohn, who's pressured. Jump pass tipped away, taken by Dunker, lays it up and he misses. But a foul by Hanley. Turnover number 16 for Ken Denver. Hanley commits his second. The Beat Diggers are going to make this very tough, and if they can score without the time moving, even better. But they're still down by 19 and it's still 19. First free throw's off the back of the rim. Brian Boatman into the game for Eduardo White. Second free throw upcoming. For the best prices and special offers on top quality car parts and accessories, Central Auto Parts, 1001 West Platte Avenue, Fort Morgan. Second free throw is off to the left. Brandon Jones with a rebound. Over to Hanley. 50-31 Ken Denver. Front court jump pass to Pettijohn. Pettijohn to his right against Cranston. Now trapped by Dunker. Jump pass to Hanley just beyond midcourt. Hanley to his right. Under 4 minutes to go from Moby Arena in the 3A semifinals. Hanley left of the lane. Had the ball stripped away, and it's picked up by Needens. Needens with a basketball across the timeline. Needens on the outside left. Hands it off to Rosenbrock at the top for Cranston. Straight away three is off to the right. Josh Rapine with a 6th rebound for Ken Denver. Foul in the backcourt. It'll be 2 free throws here for the Sun Devils. And quite frankly, Jen, the Bee Diggers are just stone cold from the field today.
They are, and I don't, they seem really tight. Their shoulders are leaning back instead of forward when they're taking the shot, which is why they're coming up short. So just wasn't their day.
Bryce Needens with a foul. Stubbs Gas and Oil at I-76 and Highway 39 in Wiggins. Don't delay and get there to see why convenience is Stubbs' middle name. Stubbs Gas and Oil, I-76 and Highway 39. Free throw is in by Josh Rapine. And the Bee Diggers have done a nice job this year against leading scorers. But Rapine does have 14 points in the game. Rosenbrock is out. Cranston, Tormolen, Mickey, Brown, and Needens for Brush. Second free throw is going to be off to the right and short. Mitch Tormolen grabs the rebound. His third board. Into the front court is Cranston. 3:29 to go. Ken Denver leads by 20, 51-31. Cranston left of the lane. Bounce pass intended for Tormolen. Stripped away, intercepted by Jones. To Pettijohn, lays it up and in, and a foul on Jake Brown. Pettijohn to the line. Brown commits his third. .2 lead. Committed to serving those in production ag. Premier Farm Credit, the gold standard in ag lending, as Michael Hanley is out and Jaden Franklin is in. The Bee Diggers lost 3 games this year by a total, as the free throw is in and out. Rebound to Tormolen by a total, I believe, of 11 points. 6 points to Yuma, 3 to Jefferson Academy, and 4 to Sterling, so a total of 13 points. Needens left baseline, scoop pass is knocked away, but it went off the bottom of the backboard. So technically it's out of bounds, I guess, and now the Bee Diggers retain possession. Down by 22, Needens to throw it in.
Jacob Nichols just into the game for Mitch Tormolen.
That could be it for Mitch for the 3A semifinal, but of course he'll be back here tomorrow. Needens to trigger it in, right corner for Mickey, dribbles to his left, right of the lane, fades off the glass, too strong. Matt Pettijohn with a rebound. Pettijohn into the front court. Pettijohn on the outside left. Maintains the dribble, cross court to Franklin. Franklin retreats towards the timeline. Hard to imagine that this Ken Denver team, as well as they played the first 2 games here at Moby Arena, going through the Patriot League, are not going to win this tournament. Jones, right baseline, banks and scores off the bounce pass from Pettijohn. Jones now with 6. Ken Denver 55, Brush 31. 2.5 to go in the game. Needens on the outside left, spinning at the free throw line. Right corner, bounce pass, Cranston, 3 in the air, yes. Yes, for Trey Cranston. Timeout for the Bee Diggers. Brought to you by Greg Mullen at State Farm Insurance. We'll take it with them. 2:23 to go. It's Ken Denver 55, Brush 34 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Brian Boatman throw it in for Ken Denver in the backcourt to Michael Hanley with 2:20 to go. Ken Denver 55, Brush 35 to Pettijohn into the front court. Pablo Gutierrez strips it from behind. Did he commit the foul? No, it's a tie-up. Possession arrow stays with Ken Denver. Pablo Gutierrez, Noah Leachman, Jake Brown, Jacob Nichols, and Ben Mickey. Good experience for these underclassmen as well. Brandon Jones, Josh Rapine, John Payne, Matt Pettijohn, the inbounds passer, and Brian Boatman for Ken Denver. Again, basically a senior-laden squad for the Sun Devils. And are they checking possession?
Yeah, possession was, I kept thinking about that, and I was like, I think it's supposed to go the other way.
And it does. The Bead Diggers will have the basketball with 2:14 remaining. They'll play for third place tomorrow against either Eaton or Pagosa Springs. We'll have the game for you 2 o'clock on 1010 and KSLR.com. Pablo Gutierrez into the front court at the top, right of the lane. Jump pass to Brown. He'll put up a three, and that's well short. The rebound to Rapine. Rapine with a long pass towards Payne. On the outside left, back near the timeline to Rapine. Over to Pettijohn. On the left wing to Payne. Payne dribbles against Brown, kicks it back out to Pettijohn. Over to Payne. We've got 1:46 to go. Down low for Jones. He banks and he misses, but the rebound and putback is up and in by Brian Boatman. And now Ken Denver calls a 30-second timeout, perhaps to make some substitutions. Yeah, we should see maybe Tyler Padgett into the game. Maybe Chance Tanner as well. Boatman has been strong on the boards in this quarter. He's got 6 points in the quarter, 8 points in the game to go along with 5 rebounds. 1:42 to go. Ken Denver leading Brush 57-35. And they'll break the huddle momentarily. And, yeah, I think we will see Tyler Padgett out there for the Sun Devils, along with Jaden Franklin, Chance Tanner, Josh Feiner, and John Payne. The Bead Diggers have essentially, like Ken Denver, cleared the bench. Brown, Leachman, Mickey, Nichols, and Gutierrez for Brush. And the Sun Devils have cruised the entire tournament.
Well, and they've not really changed their defense. They went a couple times in a man-to-man, but they've pretty much stayed in that 2-3 zone the whole time.
Gutierrez across the timeline gets a pick from Nichols in the high left corner for Mickey, dribbles to his right. Mickey in the lane has the shot blocked out of there by Padgett on that little runner. Here is Josh Feiner with a basketball. 1:21 to go, and Ken Denver will qualify for the 3A state championship game. Lob for Franklin to Padgett, swings it to Tanner, knocked away by Brown, and then the ball is thrown away by the Bead Diggers. The teams exchange turnovers. Franklin with 1:07 to go against Gutierrez. Dribbling towards the right corner. Looking, backs it out to Padgett. On the high right to Franklin, down low for Tanner. Dribbles, cross-court pass to Payne. 16-footer, yes, for John Payne. They can shoot, too. 9 points for Ken Denver. For Payne, I should say. Of Ken Denver. 59-35, 43 seconds to go. Leachman with a basketball above the arc. Down low for Nichols. Dribbles, hooks it up. Around and good. Jacob Nichols to the line for one as he scores. And the Ken Denver foul was committed by Tyler Padgett, his first. Well, that's good for Nichols. He had yet to score in the game. Bryce Needham held scoreless in the game. The free throw is off the back of the rim. Tyler Padgett grabs the rebound. And Needham was the catalyst in the third quarter yesterday with 8 points, including 2 huge threes. Franklin across the timeline, bodied up in the right corner, back out to Payne, over to Feiner, outside left to Tanner, guarded by Nichols. Jump pass to Feiner, 21 seconds to go. Feiner to Franklin. Franklin to his left. Bounce pass to Padgett, left of the lane, in the lane. Hooks it up, blocked out of there by Leachman, and taken away by Mickey. Here come the Bead Diggers the other way. Gutierrez has the shot blocked out of bounds, but the foul as well with the body. Pablo Gutierrez to the line as Franklin commits his third. It'll be nice for Gutierrez to get into the scoring column. So the Bead Diggers down by 22. The lefty delivers and scores. And give the Bead Digger fans credit. They haven't gone away either. I mean, they're diehards. Second free throw by Gutierrez is up and off to the right. The rebound is controlled by Chance Tanner. We've got 5 seconds to go, and Josh Feiner will dribble it out, and the Kent Denver Sun Devils have advanced to the 3A state championship game, defeating the Brush Bead Diggers at Moby Arena in Fort Collins, 59-38. Let's take a 3-minute break. We'll wrap it up after this on 1010 KSLR and KSLR.com. John Beltran back at Moby Arena in Fort Collins. Welcome to the Bead Digger post-game show, brought to you by Buildings by Design and Brush, taking pride in their workmanship and quality of their relationships with clients. For a free bid, call Pat Walter, 842-5837. Building today's business, Buildings by Design, as Ken Denver has advanced to the 3A state championship game tomorrow night at 5:30. The Beat Diggers will play in the third-place game at 2 o'clock on 1010 and KSLR.com against the loser of the 7 o'clock game coming up, the other 3A semifinal between Eaton and Pagosa Springs, as we're joined by head coach Ken Garcia after Ken Denver defeated Brush 59-38. And, I mean, does it basically, coach, just boil down? I know rebounding, there was a big disparity, but one quarter, the Beat Diggers don't score for well over 7 minutes, and Ken Denver took advantage.
Yeah, definitely they have a good defense. They've got size and athletic ability. We were looking at their roster. They've got 10 seniors, so they're pretty, physically prepared, and it was just trouble for us to get the ball inside. And when we did, they altered our shot because of their size, so we didn't get the clean looks that we were looking for. And we weren't lighting it up from outside, so that certainly isn't in our favor.
Well, 2 out of 17 from three-point range. So, and like I said, you had to put up some of those shots because they were collapsing down low. Boy, this was a very tough physical team. I thought we wouldn't see much better than Faith Christian, but Ken Denver showed why they're the number one team in 3A.
Yeah, they certainly did, and we knew we'd have to be hot from the outside, and we knew we had to shoot some from the outside to try to extend their defense a little bit more. And unfortunately, we weren't able to do that, and then they cleaned up on the glass when we did shoot. We couldn't get a crack or crevice in there to get a rebound. So, all that said, kids fought hard, kids played hard, and as a coach, that's all you can ask for. And unfortunately, we were on the wrong side of that one.
Yeah, you play another game tomorrow. How difficult will it be to play that particular game, playing for third place, but also knowing that you want to rebound from that loss? And for most of your players who are coming back, with the exception of Mitch Tormolin, who's had a fine season, maybe it could serve some purpose going into next year.
Definitely, we're gonna lick our wounds, and we're gonna come out tomorrow, and it's another game, and it's for third place, and it's not for the state title, but it's certainly for pride and for recognition, and third place. Who would have thought we'd been there? So we're there, and hopefully our kids understand, it's a disappointment for today, but tomorrow we're going to come out and we're going to show that we're the third best team in the state.
Absolutely. Can Ken Denver, with the way they rebounded, is it possible to really learn a valuable lesson how to rebound against teams that big, or are you at an automatic disadvantage going into games like that? Because you had games this year against bigger teams where you were able to overcome that. And like we mentioned, Ken Denver was so good. Or is there a way somehow, because there is a big rebounding disparity, to be able to challenge teams that big and maybe either stay with them or somehow out-rebound them? I know the task is very hard. It's almost impossible for a coach to put together a game plan like that, but that's obviously one of the big challenges when you're undersized, as was the case all year.
Yeah, but, there's other things besides size, but when you have the size and you have the footwork and you have the ability to box out and understand positioning and where rebounds are going to go. And Kent Denver had all of that. If it was just a size issue, we could take advantage of some of that. But, they also had the footwork and the positioning and everything else that goes with rebounding, as well as their size. So, that makes them a tough draw for anybody.
Ken, we'll see you tomorrow as the Beat Diggers go for their 23rd win of the year.
Thank you.
Beat Diggers head coach Ken Garcia. After the Beat Diggers lost here by a score of 59-38. Once again, head coach Ken Garcia. The Beat Diggers trailed 10-9 after one, but a 15-2 run in the second quarter gave them a 25-11 lead. A 14-8 third quarter for Ken Denver put them up by 20, and then the Beat Diggers were outscored 20-19 in the fourth. For Ken Denver, they were led by Josh Rapine with 14 points, 10 by Michael Hanley, 9 points for Matt Pettijohn, 8 apiece for Brian Boatman and Eduardo White, 6 points for Brandon Jones, and then 2 points for Billy Lane in the game. The Beat Diggers had 9 points in the game from Randy Baker, who was the leading scorer all season, 6 by Kyle Rosenbrock, 5 apiece by 3 players in Austin Garcia, Mitch Tormolin, and Trey Cranston, as well as 4 points in the game. I mentioned, I believe, 6 for Rosenbrock, 4 for Jeffrey Dunker, 2 by Jacob Nichols, and a free throw for Pablo Gutierrez. As for the turnovers, even though they've got 15-8 here, nope, check that. Let's see, we got the turnovers in the game. Well, I'm going to go by my calculations. 19 for Ken Denver, 12 for Brush. rebounding 34 for Ken Denver. They're led by Josh Rapine with 7. The Beat Diggers with 17, led by Mitch Tormolin with 4. At the free throw line, the Beat Diggers 9 out of 14, 64%. Ken Denver 13 out of 16, 81%. Ken Denver moves to 25-1 on the season. They will play tomorrow at 5:30 right here from Moby Arena for the 3A championship against the winner of today's 7 o'clock game between Eaton and Pagosa Springs. And as for the Beat Diggers, they'll play right here on 10-10 at 2 o'clock against the loser of that game. Sound engineer and producer of Brush Beat Digger Basketball, doing an excellent job as always, is Rose Condas. For Jen Goodall, I'm John Beltran. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2 o'clock for the third-place game involving the Brush Beat Diggers and either Eaton or Pagosa Springs. The final score, Ken Denver 59, Brush 38, right here on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com.